around us and learning that started way back home in Latrobe. And the irony in having turned my attention away from being the networking guy? 20 years after Never Eat Alone was published, I appreciate and embrace a through line in all my research and writing. That work today happens fluidly in networked teams, and the productivity of teams is powered by purposefully engineered relationships. Going back to the source. My old man was an unemployed steelworker whose family emigrated from Italy to find prosperity and ended up a victim of the steel industry crash that hit Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and all across the Rust Belt in the 1970s. As a kid, I would hear my father come home and bemoan at the dinner table about the practices that were going on in his workplace. His manager would literally tell him to slow down because he was making the boss look bad as he was outworking his peers and throwing off the measured piece rate by his work pace. If you look back at the newspaper headlines in the 70s, you would have seen stories about cheap foreign imports from Japan, and the accusation was that Japanese labor was flooding the American marketplace, allowing inappropriate competition. But really, something else was going on. Total Quality Management, TQM, was created by academics in the United States to expect more from frontline teams. Men like my father would work to drive outrageous results like 0 defects through empowered teams. But this new way of working was ignored by the arrogant steel industry, despite being adopted in Japanese factories to deliver less expensive and higher quality products. I would study this in college, and it would become another formative thread in my belief that transforming teams really can transform organizations. But as a kid, I'm sitting there hearing my dad lament everything that we were suffering. He was now unemployed, striving to make ends meet, taking any job possible. My mom had to go get a job as a cleaning lady, which she hated. But what was most important was at the age of 10, I committed to my dad that someday I would grow up, now you're going to laugh, to be governor of Pennsylvania and then president of the United States, and I would fix American manufacturing. What did I know? Everyone we knew was a blue-collar working family. I just reached as high as I could imagine to be in a position to change the economic state of families like ours. If you've read Never Eat Alone, you'll know that I ended up on my way to Yale with the help of a number of amazing benefactors. There's no nepotism when you grow up in a family where no one went to college, unless you create your own nepotism through the caring network you nurture yourself. It's the same principle I'd coach years later in the book Leading Without Authority, how leaders working outside the authority they may possess according to the org chart could achieve extraordinary things working across silos. But at Yale, I did run for political office, for city council in New Haven, Connecticut. The story picked up coverage in the New York Times, and people started calling me from back in Pennsylvania, wealthy individuals, to say, "Come back when you're done with Yale. We want you to run." So I did. When I left Yale, I did 2 things. While the prize job of the 80s was Wall Street, I was the only Yale grad to go to work in manufacturing as a leader in total quality management for a chemical company that sold into General Motors. I also found a congressional district I thought I could win. But something happened that threw a curveball at me. I fell in love with a fraternity brother. I bet you didn't see that coming. And neither did I as a Christian from blue-collar Pennsylvania. And that was the end of my political aspirations. Back in those days, even Liberace was straight. I joke, but it was a gut-wrenching existential reconciliation at the time. There were literally no role models, and I didn't have the courage to be the first. But I saw a pivot. I was already doing impactful work down on the plant floor. I could double down and materialize my mission to save American manufacturing.